Hello. Yeah, good afternoon, everyone. So let us continue with the chapter number 8. And apologies for any advertisements if they are coming in, middle of our discussion, because I'm live streaming through screen recording of my mobile. So all of you know that Android generally gives some unnecessary advertisements. So sorry for that. If any of these things come in between, please bear with me. Okay, right. So let us start with this 8th chapter, because already we have finished 7 chapters till now. So let us start with the 8th chapter today. Industry and infrastructure. So please acknowledge, is the video is coming right now? Yes. So let us start with the 8th chapter, that is this one, that is industry and infrastructure. And what is the most important thing is, all of us know, industrial sector performance is very much crucial for achieving the ambitious goal of making the India into a $5 trillion economy by the end of 2024, I think. So that is the time period the government is taking. So this sector actually it contributes to 30% of GVA. And yesterday I have given you the same type of statistics also when it comes to the agricultural sector, where I told you it is contributing around 16.2% of GDP or GVA. Here in the industrial sector, it is contributing around 30% of GVA. So this is where UPSC may ask you some general question. Apart from that, there are some important issues which we have to discuss as part of this chapter. In that, one important issue, that is your IIP, that is also nothing but Index of Industrial Production. So let me come to this point here. So this is the one which I am talking about, Index of Industrial Production. So this is where UPSC may ask you certain questions. Already regarding of this, we have talked about different sectors in the economy. All of you know there is something called as primary sector, secondary sector and tertiary sector. Out of the secondary sector also we have something called core sectors, which I have given you many times a logic also, NFS RECCC, driving NFS game recklessly. So there is also one more measure which identifies some of the industrial sectoral performances, that is your IIP. This is also nothing but Index of Industrial Production. It is a measure of industrial performance, right? So what UPSC will ask you, apart from the things about IIP, they'll ask you the latest statistics. Last time already they have asked the question 2 years or 3 years back, that is, in which of the following sectors IIP is having a maximum growth rate? Or tomorrow the UPSC may ask you a question like this, in the Index of Industrial Production, out of the sectors, which sector is contributing more weightage when it comes to IIP? Remember, in this Index of Industrial Production, 3 important sectors should be noted down here. So one is manufacturing, holistically they take, which is almost having 77% of weightage. Next one is mining, which is having the second highest weightage. Third one is electricity, which is the third highest. Are you getting the point? I'll come to this again, manufacturing, later. So this is the shortcut for it, MME, on a weightage level. So if you see this IIP is increasing, then you can say that the manufacturing sector and the mining sector and the electricity sector in the country, overall it is having a growth rate. If it is not having, then there is a deceleration in the growth rate. This is what they have written here. See, IIP growth has moderated to 3.8% in 2018-19 compared to 4.4% in 2019-20. It grew at 0.6% as compared to blah blah blah. So if you look here, when relatively compared to 2017-18, there is a deceleration in growth rate when it comes to the 2018 and 19. So this is what you should remember as basics. Are you getting the point? And apart from this, what is the next thing that we are going here is this one. If you see, so this is the next page. Index of industrial production growth rates. So as I told you, this is the weightages which I have already explained you. So manufacturing as first, mining as second, and your electricity as third. So here they have given the complete growth rates. If you see in 2018-19 and 2019-20, the growth rate of mining has gone down, and now because of corona and COVID, this will be facing even more problematic scenario. Apart from this, manufacturing is bit okay, and then electricity is 0.8. If you see, when relatively compared from 2018 statistics to 19 statistics, there is a complete deceleration here, isn't it so? But whereas if you see from 2017 to 18, if you see, again there is a slight disturbances. So come to the 2015. Let us compare with this 2015 to 2019. When relatively compared to the 2015, the growth rates in 2019 and 20, there is a deceleration. So you cannot apply the trend concept here, but what you have to understand is only the 2 points which I have suggested in the earlier page, which means this one. That is index of industrial production. It is a measure of industrial performance, and the weightage is MME. The first M is talking about manufacturing. Second M is talking about mining. Third E, that is talking about electricity. The weightage of these three sectors as part of this IIP is these three. When comes to the last year, the growth rates gone down. So this is the thing that you should remember. Rest of all is not necessary. So let us move into the next part. So this is the part. Already I told you many times the 8 core industries. For that I have given you logic also. NFS game, playing recklessly. NFS RECCC. Natural gas, fertilizers, S means steel, refinery, electricity, crude oil, coal, cement. So these are the 8 industrial core sectors. So the industries included in the IIP, which means I told you MME, the first M is talking about what? Manufacturing. Under this manufacturing, the industries included in the index, generally in this manufacturing, we can talk about all these sectors. So likewise, for 8 sectors, there is one more index. For manufacturing as a whole, 77% if you are taking into consideration mining, manufacturing and electricity, there is one measure of performance, that is MME. But to measure the index, to measure the only 8 core sectors, there is one index that is called index of 8 core industries. Are you getting the point? In this, the industries included in the index of 8 core industries, it comprises 40% of weightage in the IIP, which simply saying that in the IIP, under the manufacturing part, the core industries weightage is out of this IIP, that is 40%. That is what you should remember. This is where the people will get confused. No need to confuse here. Under the IIP, we have something called manufacturing, right? We have something called manufacturing. In this manufacturing, the weightage is 77.4%. So as part of this IIP, if you take the core industries, the industries included in the index of 8 core industries comprise how much in IIP? The core industries, they are contributing or they are having a weightage of 40%. That is what you should remember for the prelims examination. Rest of all things are not required. We know that. And let us see which sector is faring well and which sector is not faring well. And if you come here, growth in the production of 8 core industries. Already I have notified them down so that you can easily remember them. For example, if you see, these are the 8 core industries. In this, if you look at the 2090, if you look at the weightage part, so this is weightage. So out of 8 core industries, according to the weightage, which industry is having the first rank? Refinery products, because here the weightage is 28%. Whereas second is electricity. Third one is steel. Rest of all is not required. If you remember the top 3, that is enough. That is enough. No need to remember the all industries. But still, if you want more information, so that you will be having more chance of clearing the prelims examination, even the paper is difficult. So you can do that. So here we will try to make a logic. So refinery is R, because this is the logic, NFS RECCC. Now we will make this into a logic according to their weightage. That is, refinery is first one. Second one is steel. Third one is electricity, right? Electricity, right? Sorry, second one is steel. Sorry for that. Let me erase this. RES it should be. Yeah, first one is refinery, second one is electricity, third one is steel, right? So fourth one below 17, that is your coal, I think, right? So this is the fourth one. So after coal, then the next one would be crude oil, that is your 5. After that it would be this, that is your 6. After that cement, that would be 7. Fertilizer is the least part, that would be 8. So let us make this into, so coal, third one, that is CO, crude oil CR, sixth one, that is your natural gas, seventh one, that is your cement, eighth one, that is your fertilizers. So now let us make a logic for that. RES, CR and CF, right? Yeah, coal, crude oil, this one is cement. So RESCO, okay, CRNCEF. So can somebody so one second, something is happening with the video, so bear with me with 5 seconds. So I'll resume it. 1 second please, 1 second. So there is some problem. I'll resume it. Yeah. So if you see, so this one is the logic. So can somebody suggest me any logic for this? RESCO, CR and CEF. So this is the logic. So RES, CO, CR, which means R means refinery, all these things. So make a logic for this. Any logic on your own. I'm not getting any logic because we are going through the live class. So, or else I can give you this logic tomorrow, because now I found this. So this is the weightage level. So from refinery onwards, from the first rank onwards till the last rank. So this is the logic that you should remember. RESCO, CR and CF. Are you getting the point? So this is weightage wise. When it comes to the growth wise, if you see, so this is where that you have to understand about the growth wise. Out of these 8 sectors, which one is having the maximum growth? Forget about the 2019-20. They may not ask you this question, right? So for 2018 and 19, they may ask you this question. So if you look at 2018-19, obviously if you see, the best growth part is always with the cement in 2018 and 19. And after the cement, the best growth part is this. So cement and coal. Are you getting the point? Whereas in 2019 and 20, still the statistics is not available. So that's why there is a very least scenario that UPSC may ask you the question. Because if you see here, this is only till from April to November. So this is what you should remember. The first, best part, that is your coal. This is your first rank. So second rank, goes to, first one is cement. Second one goes to coal. And the third one, you can see here. So which one is good? So I think this is the one, electricity. So cement, coal, electricity. So this is what growth wise. This is what weightage wise. So this part is weightage wise. So weightage, this is the logic. RESCO, CR and CEF. When it comes to the growth part, cement, coal and electricity. So this is what you should remember as part of this. Got it? So let me go into the next page. So if you see here, corporate sectoral performance. So the survey has given many important informations which are not obviously important for the prelims year, this year prelims examination. So under the corporate sector performance, even though despite having many corporates, there are some companies which are very which became so critical as major contributors to the slowdown of corporate sector performance. I have noted them here. The sectoral slowdown, if you see here, under the corporate sector performance, the sectoral slowdown happened with these three important, these three important sectors. That is your petroleum products, iron and steel. Third one is motor vehicles. Is it running? Right. Okay. So apart from that, I don't think so that anything is important. In the industrial sector also, if you see, I already told you about this gross capital formation. What is meant by gross capital formation? The capital which is being formed for a particular sector. Okay, that is in that gross capital formation for industrial sector in 2016-17, the industry registered very negative gross capital formation, whereas when comes to in 2017-18, this went to a sharp rise, that is 7.6%. That is the only thing which you should remember. Rest of all things are not required in this chapter or else in this page. Got it? Next part. So growth of industry-wise deployment, no, this is not required at all. So come to this ease of doing business. Already you people know about ease of doing business. The UPSC has asked already 3 times this question in UPSC prelims. Last year this question has been asked, and before that year this question has been asked. So recently the India's ranking in the world of ease of doing business in the 2020 report, India has reached to 63rd position from last year's 77th position. Before that we had a position of 100. Before that we had a position of 130. Before that we had a position of 131. So very swiftly from 2016 to 2019 there is a sharp increase in ease of doing business. That is, here we were around somewhere in the 130 rank, and then we suddenly reduced by minus 30, and then we reduced by minus 23, and suddenly there is a reduction of minus 14. Now we have reached to 63. So what are the reasons for it? So this is what UPSC will ask you definitely. What are the reasons for improvement in ranking of ease of doing business? So no need to worry, because the economic survey itself has given the reasons. Because how this ease of doing business ranking is generally evolved based on some chosen parameters, isn't it so? So these chosen parameters, despite having other parameters, but these are the parameters where the India fared well. So these are the parameters which I am showing now. So if you see, this one is starting a business. Getting the point? In that starting a business, so this blue color part, actually this one is, so this blue color part is 2018, and the red color part, it is 2019. This is 2018, whereas this one is 2019. So here the rank is not that great. But when it comes to the other indicators, if you see, this is dealing with construction permits, second one. So this one I am talking about. This one is dealing with construction permits. Here India improved certainly a better rank, because from 52 straight away we went to 27th rank. And after that, getting electricity, earlier itself we had a very good ranking, again we improved by 2% or 2 rankings. After that there is something called registering property. Here we didn't fare that well, because the difference is only 8. Whereas when it comes to the paying taxes, again the difference is not that great, from just 121 in 2018 to 115 in 2019. When it comes to the trading across borders, bit okay. When it comes to resolving insolvency, we fared very well. There is a improvement more than 50%. Why? Because of Insolvency and Bankruptcy Code. There UPSC will connect this ease of doing business with Insolvency and Bankruptcy Code. So where you have to already, you must have studied this part, because already I explained this as part of PPT, and already you have enough information with you as part of your current affairs. So you should thoroughly studying this, that is Insolvency and Bankruptcy Code. So getting the point. So this is very much important, and it should be linked with ease of doing business. So that is what you should remember, right? Apart from this, India came up with something called as Startup India program. This Startup India program, actually we started as an initiative in the year of 2015, and of course, as per the estimations, now we have around 27,000 startups in around 555 districts out of 600 districts in this country. And to increase these startups, the government has given several exemptions, and also the union government has taken several steps to encourage the startups. So the UPSC will ask you, what are these steps? Are you getting the point? So what are these steps taken by the government to encourage the startups? So this is first thing, that is, I will write here. So startups encouragement. For startups encouragement, first thing is exemptions from the income tax. First one. So let me stop the chatting part. You can ask me the questions later. So but right now it is coming on the screen. Okay. So exemptions from income tax for the new startups. Second one is 32 regulatory reforms we have brought to improve the ease of doing business. 32 regulatory reforms for ease of doing business. This is your second important thing. Third one, instead of certification given by the government, now the self certification regime we have brought for 6 labor laws and 3 environmental laws. Generally the environmental certifications should be given by whom? National Green Tribunal or Environmental Ministry, isn't it so? But instead of that, now any startup, if it is having trouble with the environment, it can give the self certification. So that is the third important point. That is your self certification for labor and environmental laws, right? And there is also fourth one, that is called Startup India Hub, as one stop shop for the startup ecosystem. This is the fourth one, Startup India Hub, one stop shop. So this is the slogan for it. So these are the things. Are you getting the point? To increase the startup ecosystem, these are the reforms that the government has brought. This is the first one, second one, third one, and fourth one. So this is what this has been is been given in the survey. So these are the things that you should remember. See, I'm maximizing it. Exemptions from income tax, 32 regulatory reforms for ease of doing business, and self-certification for labor and environmental laws, and Startup India Hub, that is called one-stop shop. So these are the 4 important things. And remember, if this question is appearing in the examination, the other information that you should remember about the startups, that is, this is the thing. The major states which are having more startups, the top 3 performers, one is Maharashtra, the second one is Karnataka, third one is Delhi. And always the Kerala, it is always best in some aspects, especially the social aspects like health or controlling the COVID, etc. But here, when it comes to the startups, Kerala, the best state in India, it is not faring well. It is not best here. Are you getting the point? So Kerala is not best here. So who are the best performers here? That is Maharashtra, Karnataka, Delhi, and after that the other states will come. Are you getting the point? So this is what you should remember. And apart from this, they may ask you other important questions like which sectors where the startups are actually faring well. So that also I have the statistics now. So if you see IT sector, that is where we are getting the most startups. Apart from the IT sector, the other sectors are healthcare and life sciences. This is your second important sector. Got it? Third important sector, that is your education. Rest of all sectors it is not required. But last sector, which is very much important, then you should remember, that is your renewable energy. Got it? Because now today we are talking about more environment, and there was a Paris Agreement, and India has also gone with the intended nationally determined contributions, reducing of 33 to 35% levels of its emissions according to the 2005. So when you are talking about all these things, somewhere it can be connected in the prelims examination. So if there is a statement like this, that renewable energy is the top performer, sometimes you may get doubt, because you are already, your mind is stuck with the environment. Are you getting the point? So there you have to get the clarity. Renewable energy, where the startups is very less. Am I clear with this? Right. Next one. Let us go into the other things. So this is your FDI. Already we know about FDI. I'm not going into the details. See, these are the top nations or destinations where the FDI is coming from. Remember, these are the countries where we are getting 80% of FDI. The first one is Singapore, second one Mauritius, third one Netherlands, fourth one USA, and the fifth one is Japan. These are the 5 nations which are contributing to around 80% of FDI. Are you getting the point? And sometimes these type of questions will be asked. They will never ask you how much FDI inflows are coming. For example, like in 2018 there was 22.66 billion US dollars came to India, right? And again this been increased to 26.10 billion dollars recently. So they won't ask you those numbers. Numbers are not required, percentages are required. So this is one such point. And the next important thing, which may be important, I would call, that is your steel production. In the world, China is in the first rank, where it is almost producing 53.8% of your steel. So India here 2%, but the variation is huge. There is around the variation some 47%. So China is nowhere close to India. It is far higher than India. But India is also the one of the best are good producers of the steel. Of course, it is because of China in its geographical location. It has more steel, iron ore reserves, right? Iron ore, bauxite, etc. So India is the second producer, second highest producer. But whereas when it comes to the consumer, India is here third highest consumer. When it comes to the steel growth, that is just 1.5%, which you should remember. Rest of all, it is not required. Are you getting the point? So that is what it is important. Next part. Let me come to the next part here. So these are not great things which you have to remember. So you can skip this coal part. This coal, they're asking you all old questions like what are the different types of coal, like bituminous, lignite, peat, lignite, bituminous, and anthracite. These type of questions, they are coming, and I'm not expecting any type of question from there. But as part of crude oil, I suggest you strongly, please study about BS6 norms and the difference between BS4 and BS6 norms. So BS6, I'm expecting a question, because these days already we have seen that even the state governments, they ordered many motor vehicles to get registered if they were BS4. I think there is no BS5 in India. BS4, if you belongs to, so this is BS6. So if you belongs to the BS4, your vehicle has to be registered by the end of March. But because of COVID now, those dates have been extended. So we have skipped the BS5 because we wanted to make this environment better, and also we wanted to go with our INDC targets, etc. So we came up with BS6 norms. Ultimately, the UPSC will also follow this trend. Wherever the things which are coming around you, those questions will be asked. That is for sure. Last year this was proved again with the wearable watches and bands, right? Smart watches, wearable bands. They've asked this question. Volt, they have asked this question. So likewise, you can see this one also. Are you getting the point? Right. Next one, I could say. So there are some important issues about MSMEs itself. So recently the Prime Minister has announced 12 key announcements for the sector, but I read them, but they were pure technical in nature. especially with the interest subvention of 2% in all GST registered MSMEs, and also approval of loans up to 1 crore within 59 minutes through online portal. And all companies which are having a turnover of 500 crores, so they have to be mandatory registered in TREDS platform. This also trade related, this one. I think this will be written in your in your current affairs material like this, TREDS with a small s, small e. So TREDS platform, all CPSUs compulsory procure at least 25% from MSMEs. So likewise, there are some 12 key announcements given for this sector, but I'm not going into the details. You can take all of them from your current affairs, because I found them very technical in nature. So I don't think so the question may be asked there. So let us move here, right? So these are the things which you will get anyway in your survey or your current affairs part. So let us come to the textiles chapter, which is another important chapter. So I have written all important information which you no need to worry. In the textile sector, textiles is contributing around 18% of manufacturing in India, and also it is contributing to 2% of GDP in 2017 and 18. Apart from this, the share of the textiles in the exports itself is 12% in 2018 and 19, and of course it has registered a bit little good growth of 3% when compared to the last year, that is when compared to 2017-18. In 2018-19 there is a growth of 3%. Apart from this, it is the biggest employer after agriculture. So if you see that agriculture directly, if it is contributing to if you take only the farmers who are having the land, there are around 25 crores of farmers in this country. Directly or indirectly, around 50% to 60% of the population, they are directly or indirectly dependent on agriculture sector and its allied activities. And next to the agriculture, if there is any sector which is giving more employment to the people in this country, that is your textile sector, where it is employing around 4.5 crore people all over the country. Are you getting the point? So these are the important things we should remember. And remember this, textile is not part of core sectors. Already I explained this to you with a logic, right? Next come to the point is national infrastructure pipeline. All of us know in our Indian budget, generally when it comes to the expenditure side, we have two types of expenditure. One is revenue expenditure, second one is capital expenditure. Revenue expenditure, which is very much recurring in nature, where we don't get any type of assets back. The next thing is that is your capital expenditure, where it has the ability or it tends to create the assets in the country, isn't it so? So in that particular scenario, the government of India, out of its 30 lakh crore budget, it is spending very less when it comes to the capital expenditure, because more than 72% of the expenditure in this country, it is part of the revenue expenditure. A mere 20 or 28% of the expenditure, it goes to the capital expenditure. Even in that also, we are buying some defense equipments, etc. After that, the expenditure which is straight away coming to the infrastructure creation is very less, isn't it so? So how to come out of this situation? So recently, the Modi government has come up with something called, we will spend for the total infrastructure, we will spend 102 lakh crore during the period of financial year between the 2020 and 2025. When the people and also the other activists asked the question that how the government of India is going to achieve the target of the $5 trillion by the end of 2024, and the government has said, we will improve the infrastructure. And how we will improve the infrastructure? The government said it is through national infrastructure pipeline, which is going to happen between the 2020 and 2025. So this is where UPSC may ask you a strict questions. So you have to get ready. That is, as I told you, infrastructure in this country, obviously infrastructure is like lifeline to the growth, right? So in this infrastructure, generally we come across the three important sectors in the infrastructure we take as common sectors or most important sectors worldwide. Generally we call them as, one is power sector, and the one is transport sector, and the one is telecommunications, that is PTE or PET, right? So in telecommunications, India is very much faring well because beyond 100 crore people, they're using mobiles and the internet. Now everything got changed. But when it comes to the power sector and also the other sectors like transportation, we are faring very bad. So to improve all these situations, now the government is promising with this national infrastructure pipeline, where the government will where the UPSC will ask you questions in the prelims examination. Let us see how we are going to get the questions in this part. So if you see, to implement an infrastructure program, it is important that projects are adequately prepared and launched. So you need money for that. So for that, the government said an interministerial task force, it was set up in 2019 under the chairmanship of Secretary of Department of Economic Affairs. That is your Ministry of Finance. So this is the part where UPSC will ask a question. So if I were you, so I would expect a question from this part. And the next part, if you see, it is expected to enable well infrastructure projects which will create jobs, ease of doing, improve ease of living, providable equitable access, and to also boost the short term as well as the potential GDP growth, and it will also drive competitiveness. See how many points are there. So this is where UPSC will ask you, consider the following statement. Which of the following are the consequences or the results of national infrastructure pipeline? 1, 2, 3, whatever the points which I am ticking now, all these things they'll come as statements. And the finance minister in that report to the of the task force, it said, Nirmala Sitharaman, she said, it has projected that total infrastructure investment is 102 lakh crore during the financial period that is between 20 and 25 in India. Out of that, 39% will be coming from the government of India, and the 39%, another 39%, so total 39 plus 39, 78, it will come from the state governments collectively, and the rest of 22% it will come from the private sector. So this is what, on paper it is good, but how this is going to happen, that is what we will have to wait and see. Got it? So this is the part which we should remember about national pipeline for the UPSC 2020 prelims. Let us go into the next part. These are not that required. Let us see this, that is road sector. So in India, when it comes to the transportation itself, which sectors are actually having the maximum contribution? So the share of transport sector in GVA, it is around 4.77% under the total transport sector, which is contributing to the growth of the Indian economy, that is your 4.77%. This is the statistics of 2017 and 18. Whereas when it comes to the sectoral divisions, the road transport, it is contributing, it is the largest out of that 4.77%. 3% it is from the road transport. So the road transport is higher in this country, not only in terms of its density but also in terms of its growth. Whereas the railways is 0.75%. Are you getting the point? And then the airways, it is 0.15%. Whereas the water transport, it is just 0.06%, despite having the 350 plus rivers in this country. Shame on the part of the Indian government. Definitely, because we have the ability and the potentiality to increase the inland waterways in the country, the way it is happening in US and also in the Europe. But unfortunately, now we have lost this tradition, because if you see, most of centuries back or decades back, whenever the kingdoms were established, these kingdoms were established, and these kingdoms, they became so smart in fighting the wars with other kingdoms by using the inland waterways. But we have lost this tradition. So it is not that you boast too much about your history and your tradition and your culture. No, you should use those things in the real life, which is very much absent in this country. Are you getting the point? How many water transport water highways we have? Hardly 5. Now the government of India said it will increase this to 111. Where it is happening? That is what the question. Again, these things we will see in the mains preparation. But for now, this is what that you should remember. And if you see, so this is the density of the national highways. So the more density is with here, obviously the Delhi and the Haryana part, and the rest of the ones are these states, especially the southern states, which are very good, and also the northeastern states, and more probably your Uttar Pradesh, etc. So this is not required. Okay, just these things which I have noted down, they are only required. And how many railways are there? You can study like 68,000 kilometers of Indian railway line is there, but what is the use of it? That is what the question I am asking you, right? Right. So again, this is not that required. Again, a waste part, to study. So let us, move here. These are all, waste parts which you no need to study. Let us come to the telecom sector, where you can talk here. So in the telecom sector, there are some important things like the total telephone connections in this country, they grew by around 19% in within the span of 5 years, that is 2014 to 2019. The growth in the telecom sector. Okay, so that is your this one. And also when it comes to the tele density, the rural tele density is 53% something, and the overall tele density in India, that is your 90%. And India is now leader in data consumption, especially after your Geo, and especially because of this corona, what we are doing is we stuck up with the internet. India monthly data consumption is highest with average consumption per subscriber, when you compare with the whole world. And telecom infrastructure for connectivity also, we have brought some different programs which you need to study, which I am not explaining here, but I'll simply suggest you to read. One is BharatNet program. So to provide the broadband connectivity to all 2.5 lakh gram panchayats in the country. And also there is something called as public Wi-Fi. So these are the things that you should study. And also optical fiber network. So optical fiber network. So these are the things that you should study for the examination. And when it comes to the petroleum, next one, that is your petroleum. So this is the one. So this is the about top 10 oil consumers of the world in 2017. Old statistics. 2018 they won't ask you, because this is what this been given in your economic survey. So United States, if you see, that is the highest consumer. Next to it, that is China, and third one is India. So you can say that India is the third largest energy consumer in the world. When it comes to the oil production, India, it is one of the lowest among the major economies. One of the lowest in the major economies. And why this is happening? We can attribute the reasons. The first one is natural decline in aging. Natural decline in aging and matured fields, which means the oil fields which have already been identified. Second one is no discoveries of new fields. No new discoveries after KG Basin, Kaveri Basin, Dhubri, Mumbai Highway, Mumbai High. So where are the other discoveries in India? So probably the oil is not there, crude oil is not there. So this is one. And when it comes to the refining, we have a very large refining capacity. So that is what you should also remember. So I'll write here. So India is having the fourth largest refining capacity. India is fourth largest refining capacity of the oil. Number is not required. It is around some 249 mm TPA. That is not required at all. Okay. And why this is happening? Definitely it is because we are dependent more on imports. That is the reason why when you import, you should be having that capacity of refining more. So in that way you can come to the conclusions. Got it? So natural gas and other things, I won't expect a question on this because they are not that great. So let us move into it. So there is one point where you have to understand about this, that is your power. So fuel wise, if you see, so this is the percentages which UPSC will ask you. Thermal power contribution is 63%. So this is first rank. Whereas the hydro power and this renewable energy source, that is RES, renewable energy source, now that is second highest, whereas the hydropower, that is 3, and then in the nuclear section it is 1.9. Earlier it was 2, now it has been reduced to 1.9. So renewable energy sources, definitely India is faring very well. So this you should remember, this is a very much expected question in UPSC. Got it? So 63% thermal, as usual we can remember this, but where we confuse more is between hydro and this. So it is not hydro, hydro is 3% only, sorry, 12.4%, that is third rank only. But when it comes to the renewable energy sources, that is your second rank. So this is the Ministry of Power, and then when it comes to the sector wise, private is giving more power, after that it is state, after that it is center. So the things owned by your respective owners of your power production, you can say. Got it? Sector wise. So this is one important thing. After this, there are some important things that is called India's ranking recently. It's been given in the economic survey. There is one index that is called Energy Transition Index here itself. Energy Transition Index. This question never been asked in UPSC. So there is a chance that who gives the Energy Transition Index report? It is published by World Economic Forum. In that, India has been ranked as 76th position when it comes to the giving effective energy transition. So this is a very important question. I recommend you to read questions like this. Sometimes UPSC is going very strange when it comes to the reports like this. So this is one important point, and again this is one important point, and again this is the least important one. So there is a major chance that UPSC will ask you the fuel wise contribution, and also what is this report, right? So this is where you have to understand. And also there is one more program when it comes to this electricity. So I'll come to this part. The program called Saubhagya program, right? This one. So there is a Saubhagya portal. The actual Saubhagya program is this: Pradhan Mantri Sahaj Bijal Har Ghar Yojana, and electrification or electricity to all the houses. So this was launched in 2017 with an outlay of thousands of crores, that is around 16,000 crore. Are you getting the point? So 18 states already have reported that supply of more than 20 hours of electricity, while remaining states have reported that we are supplying 15 hours of electricity to the houses. So the question is, this is a significant achievement. So UPSC, where it will probably ask you the questions is where the government has achieved better with new program, because this program was started in 2017, even though that another name with the same name, another program, it already existed during the UPA regime. But because of its new names and new terminologies, there UPSC may ask you a question. So please study about this Saubhagya program. And as I already told you, Saubhagya program, Pradhan Mantri Sahaj Bijal Har Ghar Yojana. And out of it, the statistics is also, I already told you, 18 states they are already supplying around more than 20 hours of electricity. Other 15 states they are supplying around 15 hours of electricity. So these are the things you should remember. Got it? So rest of the things. Electrification, yes, this is not that required. Let us move. No, this we cannot even touch it. Then there is called Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana. Already I have explained with the same diagram earlier. Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana, as I told you, this is a program where the government wants to bring a roof on each and every head of an Indian. So when it comes to this Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana, the goal is to achieve housing for all by 2022. Already we are in 2020 and the government has achieved many things, but still there is a long way to go. Because out of 1 crore houses approved, 60 lakh houses have already been grounded for construction. The rest of 32 lakhs have been completed and delivered. So UPSC will ask you not the numbers, but these things. That is, if you look at the vertical and features here, one is in situ development, credit linked subsidy scheme, affordable housing beneficiary. Each and every point and each and every column here is important. In situ means what? Simply constructing the houses in already the places where the people are staying in situ, slum redevelopment programs. And there is also something called as credit linked subsidy, where the annual household income up to 3 lakhs, whatever it is, there the subsidy will be given for the interest that is 6.5%. Are you getting the point? Especially for the economically weaker sections or low income group for loans up to 6 lakhs. If you are going to buy a new house, even if you are buying a private house which is worth of 1 crore rupees also, still it is valid. Are you getting the point? So this is subsidy for economically weaker sections and low income groups. Next one is affordable housing in partnership. By bringing the PPP, public, private and partnership, what we are actually doing, we are giving the central assistance of 1.5 lakh per EWS, and also we are constructing the houses with the help of private sector. 35% of the houses they are constructed for the EWS category. So this is one thing. And also house construction beneficiary for individuals and other things like central assistance. Each and every point what you have to do is just by heart it. What the point? Simply by heart them. By heart them, reproduce them in the examination. Got it? So I believe that this is what the end of this chapter. So rest of the things, yes, this is one thing. This is called smart city mission. Already the government of India said that we will bring around 100 smart cities. So out of that we have some different things also, that is PPP, smart roads, smart command control centers, public spaces, smart water, etc. Already this is part of your current affairs where it's been given. So smart city mission, again you should read. So first read those programs which have been clearly coming in the survey. Rest of all programs, it is up to your memory power. Got it? This is what I can tell you from the economic survey part. Rest of all things is not necessary. And please check this chapter at glance. The things which I have explained you, again they have been written here. Take a snapshot and please remember and read all of these things before you go to the examination. It will give you a better picture in the prelims. And the next chapter, that is your service sector. I'll explain it tomorrow. And thank you. If there are any questions, I'll allow now. So if there are any questions, you can ask in the comment sections. Yes, Ramakrishna, thank you for conducting live session. Yes, it's my duty. Okay. Any other questions right now? Any other questions? Any other questions? So that is the end of the live chat. And after this, I'll come up with a new chapter. Right? Thank you, all of you.